Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Sophia, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today.
And I'm Mason. We're excited to dive into today's topic: building skills through meaningful dialogue. We'll explore how engaging conversations can help you develop important skills in both your personal and professional life.
That's right, meaningful dialogue isn't just about exchanging words. It's about building connections, improving communication, and enhancing our overall skill set. But before we jump into our discussion, let's preview some key vocabulary that will help you follow along more easily.
Vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Exactly. Vocabulary preview. Alright, let's start with our first term, active listening. Sophia, can you explain what active listening is?
Sure, active listening is when you really focus on what someone is saying without interrupting or thinking about your response while they're speaking. It's about fully engaging with the speaker and showing that you understand their message.
Exactly. Active listening helps build strong, effective communication. Our next term is feedback. Feedback is information or comments about someone's performance or behavior. It's crucial for learning and improving.
Yes, and constructive feedback is the type of feedback that is meant to help someone improve. It's specific, actionable, and delivered in a positive way. Our final term is empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person.
Perfect. So remember these terms: active listening, feedback, and empathy. They'll be important as we talk about building skills through dialogue.
Great! Let's dive into our conversation and explore how these concepts play a role in meaningful dialogue. Mason, I've been reflecting on how important effective communication is in our daily lives. It's not just about talking, but also about how we listen and respond. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, I completely agree, Sophia. I've found that the quality of my conversations can really impact my relationships and work performance. For instance, when I actively listen to my colleagues, it helps me understand their perspectives better and respond more thoughtfully.
Absolutely, active listening is such a crucial skill. It shows that you're genuinely interested in the other person's point of view. I remember a time when I had a project meeting, and instead of just waiting for my turn to speak, I really focused on what my team members were saying. It made a huge difference in our collaboration.
That's a great example. Active listening not only improves understanding, but also builds trust. It makes the other person feel valued and respected. And when we talk about feedback, it's also important to approach it constructively. How do you handle giving feedback?
I always try to be constructive with my feedback. For example, instead of just saying you need to improve this, I might say, I noticed this part could be stronger. How about trying this approach? It's more about offering solutions and being supportive.
Exactly. Constructive feedback helps people grow and develop their skills. And I think it's closely related to empathy. When you give feedback with empathy, you're more aware of how the other person might feel and how your comments will affect them.
Definitely, empathy is all about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It's not just about understanding their words, but also their emotions. I remember having a tough conversation with a colleague where I really tried to empathize with their situation. It helped us resolve the issue more effectively.
That's a great point. Empathy in dialogue can transform a difficult conversation into a productive one. It helps in building stronger relationships, whether in a personal or professional context. And when we combine empathy with active listening and constructive feedback, we create a more meaningful dialogue.
Absolutely. It's like a recipe for effective communication. When we master these skills, we not only improve our interactions but also enhance our personal and professional growth. It's all about creating connections and understanding each other better.
And it's not just about having the right words. It's about how we engage with others and make them feel heard and understood. Sometimes, even a simple conversation can lead to significant insights and improvements.
Exactly. And I think one of the most rewarding aspects of meaningful dialogue is how it helps us learn and grow. By practicing active listening, giving constructive feedback, and showing empathy, we build stronger relationships and develop valuable skills.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, it's important to remember that these skills can be developed over time. It's about being mindful in your conversations and continuously improving.
Exactly. Start small and gradually incorporate these practices into your daily interactions. You'll see the benefits in both your personal and professional life.
Now, we'll explore some actionable tips and techniques to help you make your conversations more effective and engaging. We'll cover real-life scenarios and examples to give you a clear understanding of how to apply these strategies.
Sounds great, Mason. Let's start by talking about some everyday situations where effective communication can make a big difference. For example, in meetings at work, how do you ensure that your point of view is clearly understood?
That's a crucial question. One strategy I use is to start by summarizing the main points I want to discuss. This helps set the stage and make sure everyone is on the same page. I also make sure to pause and check in with the group, asking if they have any questions or need clarification.
Absolutely. Summarizing your points is a great way to keep the conversation focused. I also find it helpful to use examples or analogies to explain complex ideas. This can make your message clearer and more relatable.
Great point. And don't forget about body language. For instance, when you're making a point, maintaining eye contact and using hand gestures can help emphasize your message. It also shows that you're engaged and confident.
Exactly. Body language plays a huge role in communication. I remember a meeting where I used visual aids like slides and charts to support my points. It really helped the team understand the data better and sparked a more interactive discussion.
That's a fantastic example. Visual aids can be very effective. Another strategy is to actively involve your audience by asking questions or encouraging feedback. It makes the conversation more dynamic and shows that you value their input.
Absolutely. Asking open-ended questions is a great way to get people talking and sharing their ideas. For example, instead of asking, "Do you agree with this plan?" you could ask, "What are your thoughts on this approach? And how do you think it could be improved?"
Exactly. Open-ended questions encourage more detailed responses and foster a deeper discussion. Let's also talk about handling disagreements. How do you approach a situation where there's a difference of opinion?
Handling disagreements can be challenging, but it's important to stay calm and respectful. I try to listen carefully to the other person's perspective and acknowledge their points before presenting my own. It's about finding common ground and working towards a solution together.
Definitely. Acknowledging the other person's viewpoint helps to build rapport and shows that you're open-minded. It's also useful to focus on the issue at hand rather than getting personal. This keeps the discussion professional and constructive.
Right, and when resolving conflicts, it's important to be solution-oriented. Instead of dwelling on the disagreement, shift the focus towards finding a resolution. For instance, you might say, "I understand your concerns. How about we try this approach to address them?"
Exactly. Focusing on solutions helps to move the conversation forward and fosters a positive atmosphere. Let's also discuss the importance of follow-up after a discussion. How do you ensure that the outcomes of your conversations are acted upon?
I always make sure to summarize the key takeaways from the conversation and follow up with an email or a summary document. This helps to clarify any action items and ensure that everyone is on the same page regarding the next steps.
That's a great approach. Documenting the discussion and next steps helps to keep everyone accountable and organized. It's also a good idea to schedule a follow-up meeting or check in to review progress and address any further questions.
Exactly. Regular follow-ups keep the momentum going and show that you're committed to implementing the decisions made during the conversation. It also provides an opportunity to revisit any unresolved issues.
Perfect. We've covered a lot of practical strategies today. To summarize, effective communication involves clear articulation, active engagement, respectful handling of disagreements, and thorough follow-up.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to dive into real-life applications of the communication strategies we discussed.
We'll walk through some role-play scenarios and practical examples to help you apply these strategies in your everyday conversations. Let's start with a scenario that many of us encounter, giving and receiving feedback.
Great topic. Mason, feedback is a crucial part of professional growth. Let's say you're giving feedback to a colleague about a project they've completed. How would you approach this to ensure it's constructive and well-received?
I'd start by framing the feedback positively. For instance, I might say, "I really appreciate the effort you put into this project. Your attention to detail is impressive." Then, I'd gently address areas for improvement, like one area we could work on is streamlining the process for future projects. Maybe we could explore some more efficient methods together?
That's a great approach. It's important to balance positive feedback with constructive suggestions. And always make sure to invite a dialogue. You might add, "Do you have any thoughts on how we could make these improvements? I'd love to hear your ideas."
Exactly. Inviting their input shows that you value their perspective and are open to collaboration. Now, let's flip the scenario. How would you handle receiving feedback, especially if it's critical?
Receiving feedback can be challenging, but it's a valuable opportunity for growth. I'd listen carefully without interrupting, acknowledge the points being made, and ask for specific examples if needed. For example, I might say, "Thank you for your feedback. Can you give me an example of where I could improve?" This helps me understand the feedback better and make necessary adjustments.
Great approach. And showing gratitude, even for critical feedback, helps maintain a positive and professional relationship. Now, let's explore another scenario, leading a team meeting.
Perfect. Leading a meeting requires clear communication and good facilitation skills. Imagine you're leading a team meeting to discuss a new project. How would you structure the meeting to ensure it's productive?
I'd start with a clear agenda and share it with the team beforehand. During the meeting, I'd stick to the agenda but remain flexible if new topics come up. I'd also encourage participation by asking open-ended questions and making sure everyone has a chance to contribute. For example, what are your thoughts on the proposed timeline? Does anyone have concerns or suggestions?
That's a solid approach. Structuring the meeting with an agenda helps keep things organized, and inviting everyone's input ensures a collaborative atmosphere. It's also important to summarize the key points and action items at the end of the meeting.
Absolutely. Summarizing the discussion and outlining next steps keeps everyone aligned and focused. Now, let's move on to a more informal scenario, networking at a professional event.
Networking can be both exciting and nerve-wracking. When you're meeting new people at a professional event, how do you start and maintain a conversation?
I usually start with a friendly introduction and a genuine compliment or comment about the event. For example, "Hi, I'm Mason. I really enjoyed the keynote speaker's insights on emerging trends in our industry. What did you think?" This opens up the conversation and allows for a natural flow of topics.
That's a great way to break the ice. Asking open-ended questions about shared experiences, like the event, helps to keep the conversation going. And remember to listen actively and show interest in what the other person has to say.
Exactly. Active listening and showing genuine interest make the other person feel valued and respected. It also helps build rapport and makes the conversation more enjoyable.
Let's now look at a role-play scenario where we put these strategies into practice. I'll play the role of a colleague giving feedback, and you'll be receiving it. Ready?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Hi, Mason. I wanted to take a moment to talk about the recent report you submitted. First of all, I want to commend you on the thorough research and clear presentation. However, I noticed a few areas where we could improve. For instance, some of the data analysis could be more detailed. Do you have any ideas on how we might enhance it?
Thank you, Sophia, for the feedback. I appreciate your kind words and your constructive comments. I agree that the data analysis could be more detailed. One idea I have is to incorporate additional data points that could provide more insights. What do you think?
That sounds like a great idea. Adding more data points could definitely strengthen the analysis. Let's also set up a time to review the updated report together. How about we schedule a follow-up meeting next week?
Perfect. I'll work on integrating those additional data points and look forward to discussing the updated report with you next week. Thanks again for your valuable feedback.
You're welcome, Mason. I'm looking forward to seeing the improvements. And remember, if you need any assistance, feel free to reach out.
Will do. Thanks again.
That's it for our role-play scenario. I hope this example helped illustrate how to handle feedback constructively, both as a giver and receiver. Remember, effective communication is key to building strong professional relationships.
Absolutely. Now, we've delved into various scenarios from giving and receiving feedback to leading meetings and networking. Let's take a moment to recap the main takeaways.
Absolutely. We started by discussing the importance of framing feedback positively. Remember, it's crucial to balance praise with constructive suggestions and to invite a dialogue to make it a collaborative process.
Right. We also talked about how to handle receiving feedback. Listening actively, acknowledging the points made, and asking for specifics can help you understand and act on the feedback more effectively.
Another key point was structuring and leading effective meetings. Having a clear agenda, encouraging participation, and summarizing key points and action items are all vital for a productive meeting.
And don't forget the importance of networking. Starting conversations with a friendly introduction, showing genuine interest, and asking open-ended questions can make networking events more fruitful.
Now, let's shift gears and provide some final tips for continued improvement. Mason, what's your first tip?
My first tip is to practice active listening. This means not just hearing the words, but also paying attention to the speaker's tone, body language, and emotions. This helps you respond more thoughtfully and engage more deeply.
That's a great tip. Active listening can significantly enhance your communication skills. My tip would be to seek out opportunities for real-life practice. Whether it's through professional settings, social events, or even casual conversations, putting your skills into practice is essential for growth.
Absolutely. And while practicing, try to reflect on your interactions. After a conversation or meeting, think about what went well and what could be improved. This self-reflection helps you continuously refine your skills.
Another tip is to be mindful of nonverbal communication. Your facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language all play a crucial role in how your message is received. Being aware of these can help you convey your message more effectively.
That's so true. Nonverbal cues often communicate more than words. And finally, don't be afraid to ask for feedback on your communication skills. Others' perspectives can provide valuable insights and help you grow.
Great advice. Mason, asking for feedback can be a powerful tool for improvement. As we wrap up, let's briefly touch on some everyday activities and how they can offer practice opportunities.
Sure. For example, participating in team projects at work, attending workshops, or even joining a local speaking club can provide practical experience. Additionally, engaging in regular conversations with friends and colleagues can help you apply what you've learned in a relaxed setting.
And don't forget about journaling or recording yourself. Reflecting on your own communication can help identify areas for improvement and track your progress over time.
Excellent points. Sophia, before we finish, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners?
Just a reminder that building strong communication skills is a continuous journey. Keep practicing, stay curious, and be open to learning from every interaction. Thank you all for joining us on this journey. We hope you found this podcast both informative and enjoyable.
Thank you, Sophia, and thanks to all our listeners for tuning in. We hope you feel more confident in your ability to engage in meaningful dialogue. Until next time, keep building those skills and have a wonderful day.
Take care, everyone. See you next time.